What is up, tea people? Today, we're gonna measure some Gaiwans. Woo! So, uh, someone left a comment being like, "Are you sure it's 51 milliliters or whatever?" And totally appropriate. So I think it made me realize, you know what, this probably makes sense to just sort of show in general. And I think this is important to do for really kind of starting to get kind of deeper into tea. You want to make sure that you're measuring what you're up to. I usually don't weigh my tea at this point when I'm doing my daily drinkers, but when it comes to evaluating tea, I think it's really important. And likewise, when it comes to evaluating tea, you need to know how much capacity your Gaiwan has. So, as it turns out, grams and milliliters are identical in metric. And so we'll go ahead and load up a couple Gaiwans here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is tare your scales. Now I have two scales here. One is like a jewelry scale. I bought this literally specifically for fine-tuning tea. It's got like a micro USB rechargeable thingy on it. It was pretty cheap on Amazon. This is literally an Amazon brand kitchen scale. Both will be fine. This gives me to the 10th of accuracy. This gives me just to the gram, 10th of a gram versus gram. So the first thing you're going to want to think about is the maximum capacity that you're going to actually fill the Gaiwan up to when brewing your tea. You don't want to be measuring up to the very top of the lid, because that's not how you make tea. So one thing you can do is literally just get in here and just visually inspect where you think the tea is roughly going to end up, okay? And you can see these Gaiwans have gotten some use. These are my kind of two most used Gaiwans, so we'll use these for our measurements here. Now, the other thing too is to probably try to keep whatever you're weighing as centered as possible, just so it is the most accurate. Okay, so I'm kind of just eyeballing there. Folks can see roughly where that is. Again, I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see kind of roughly this is a little bit tilted. So roughly right around there. And that's where I'm going to want to weigh the water up to. Okay, now let's see if I can get this in there. Perfect. And then we're back to 0 if you really need to tare them again. Now, I'm on grams. Let's get just there you go. Grams for both. And I'm just going to pour out. Oh boy. Okay. Of course. We'll tare that again. Let me start over. I'm not known for my small motor skills, everybody. It's not my strength. Handwriting, not even once. Okay, back to tare. Try this again. And again, I'm watching the cup here to see about how far up I go. That's even a little bit too far for my average. And that's a little bit closer. So 51 right on the dot for the one on the left, and the 54.7 is a little bit higher than I would normally use. And again, just to demonstrate that, you can see just a little bit of water poking out on the side there, whereas on this one, it shouldn't be there really at all. So that's the basics in terms of how you're gonna weigh and measure your Gaiwan, okay? The same thing would be true of your clay pot that you use or whatever. Mine's really nice and beat up and got plenty of scars on it. Yeah, so that's kind of the basics to start. These were sold on, I bought these on AliExpress. I think these were sold as 60 milliliter Gaiwans, so don't trust what the producer or whatever that you're buying from is saying. Definitely weigh your Gaiwans when you get them, okay? Now, go ahead and we're gonna actually just switch to, so I did this to demonstrate, hopefully, that these are both fairly self-similar in terms of their accuracy. So what I'll actually do here is just move them across from each other as well. I'll just use the one here. So I'm gonna, again, try to get this a bit more accurate to how much water I typically use. That's about right. So 49.5 to 51 grams of water, roughly. Okay, and then again, I just want to demonstrate here. So let's do this actually. We're going to assume that these Gaiwans are equivalent in weight, but they won't be exactly. So 51, 52. But close enough, right? So now I know, okay, I'm roughly using the same amount of water, or rather these are roughly equivalent. And again, the actual guy ones themselves, I think are gonna be a few grams off of each other, and that accounts for the leakage there, slippage for measurement. Okay, back here, we'll go ahead and get some of one of my favorite teas popping. Shagwan, love forever, paper tong. I just can't stop drinking this. I really just can't. Get a little bit closer. It's 2013, and it's just really easy drinking already today, in my opinion. I'll go ahead and get 2 pieces of that in there, and find another chunk here. Really, there it is. Some really beautiful material, really delicious. And now I'm kind of brewing out some bigger chunks here. So that's going to affect the rate of brewing. I brewed this yesterday with 4 grams of leaf, but I prefer 5. And that's close enough for me. So now what we're going to do is actually brew our tea, attempt rather, to brew our tea with this scale here, because I want to show how the extraction and the absorption of water in the leaves influences the amount of tea liqueur that you're actually pulling out. So the first thing that we'll do, because this is going to be a rinse, is just measure the difference between what was about 49 to 51. And so, unsurprisingly, the math kind of works out, right? Makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let this hang out for a sec. Now I added the lid, so it's gonna get heavier. But what I'm gonna do is actually show everybody how much liqueur comes out, because even though I've added 45 grams, oh boy, of water into this gaiwan, we're not going to get the same amount out, because some of that water is going to be absorbed into the tea, unsurprisingly. And so we'll do this a couple times just to show, as the gaiwan itself gets full of leaves, we're going to see less and less liquid come out. It will reach a certain threshold, and then it will be consistent, because the turgidity, right, the amount of absorption of water into the leaves will have maximized. But especially with bigger chunks, it's going to take some time. Now this is a long rinse here, but again, I'm kind of trying to prove a point. So, some simple math. Roughly 5 grams of water has been absorbed into the tea. Okay. Dump this. Right here. I gotta give it a sniff. Man, something extra good about this one. Okay, we're gonna tear it again. Now, last steeping we had 45 grams of water. I'm gonna fill it up to about the same spot. What do you know? Even less. Okay, 38. Let this hang out. Again, tearing it up. Sorry. So last time we had, I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, 40 grams of water that came out. So we're down another 4.2 grams of water. Okay. And you'll notice in the gaiwan that the leaves are definitely expanding. Go ahead and, I don't want to, but I'm just going to toss this one as well. Ah, the kind of like plummy raisin fruit on this, the wood, the base profile on this, it's just so good. Okay, so again, grams of leaf in here, but that leaf does not weigh 5 grams anymore. It weighs 5, 13, 18 grams. So we're gonna expect something like, yeah. So we're kind of reaching that point now where the amount of absorption of water in the cup is starting to, into the tea is starting to diminish pretty rapidly, okay? So we've now hydrated the tea literally enough to kind of steady that curve out to be a much flatter. Now there's still going to be some absorption of water in the tea, especially just between sessions, hanging out and having that steam that's going to be sitting on top of the gaiwan lid and around the thing because the extraction wasn't exactly perfect. It's going to continue to rehydrate the leaves. And I didn't weigh out how much liquid we pulled out of that one. Apologies, everybody. But you understand the point, right? So we'll zoom back out here for a sec and get a pour. Oh boy, let's move that out of the way. So my first raw of the day. Cheers. The aroma is already lovely. Forget about it. Oh, I love it. I love the bassy wood on this. It has a kind of a darker texture to me. It's like aged sandalwood as opposed to like fresh sandalwood. What a treat. Really nice. Okay, let's do one more. I'm gonna actually pause everybody and get some boiling water going here. All right. So we were at like 38, I think, last time. So we're at 35.8 now. Now, this is kind of the objective way, empirically, to measure the rate of absorption of your tea. So we're only adding water right now to what's happening here. But again, the other factor is the tea, how compressed it is, how broken apart the chunks of the tea are, right? These are factors that you at home get to go ahead and play with, edit, update, work on, okay? So we'll just see how much liqueur is extracted at this point, kind of on our 4th steeping. So for a 51 milliliter gaiwan, we're only getting 34 grams of liqueur, or milliliters of liqueur coming out, of tea coming out, right? So, it's not a lot of tea in terms of the amount to have. These are, I use these because I have like 8 of them. So for comparisons with friends and stuff, but more than 2 of us, it's kind of it's a little lackluster in terms of how much actual soup you get, tea soup itself. But I hope this makes sense. Like, I hope this is useful. I think everyone who's watching the videos at this point has done this or knows about this, but it's probably an interesting thing to just give a shot and see how it goes. Write the values down. I definitely did not do that. And just see how different teas potentially extract in different rates. Literally, empirically. It's not just sort of a feel thing or like intuition. It's data driven. And you just need a scale. It's not complicated. So, cheers. That kind of frontal iwu sweetness this isn't iwu, but just comes up front, immediately turns to that bassy note, deep character of plum, kind of like a lower bassier fruit character on this. Just yeah, this is my favorite tea of 2025, I think. We in terms of purchasing, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I did maybe buy 2 tongs of this. And this is the Taishanhe storage. Oops, excuse me. One more. Come on. Can't help myself. So good. So I'm using a little bit more water than last time, but we've in essence reached that saturation point where now weighing the tea, sorry, I probably wasn't zoomed in there, but I think everyone was able to see that. Now weighing the tea is, effectively pointless. There shouldn't be too much variation between steeps, and that's going to be literally my inaccuracy of how much water I'm using for each steep at that point. So hypothetically, you could weigh the water exactly and then dump it in to have this be that much more scientific. You can see just a little bit of that water. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't get paid to do this, so thank God. Yes. But anyway, when you don't pour your tea out on your tea tray or your table, you'll notice the little bit of extra water that I used around the gaiwan. I think that's a good stopping point. Enjoy my tea mess. As is life, it's messy, and you can do lots of things, but I like to laugh. Thanks for watching. I hope this was instructive. Comment below. Do you do this with all your stuff? Do you find that this is useful? Is this something that you are adamant about for every new piece of teaware that you get? Do you do this when you even go to a friend's place and you're like, do you know how much tea capacity you have in your gaiwan, or water capacity? Do you know for the highest of the highest end teas, I think I would definitely want to know, and I think that anyone at that point who's preparing some really, really fancy stuff, I think has already done something like this as well. So let me know how at home how you do this kind of stuff. What is your ideal ratio of tea to water? Does it vary by the teas that you drink? These days are I'm kind of like a 1 gram to 10 milliliters of water baseline, which is pretty gnarly, but you just get used to it and then it's awesome. So I am going to make a fresh cup of this and enjoy drinking it for the rest of my early afternoon here. I hope everyone's having an awesome day. Send this to your dog's chiropractor's chat GPT bot. I don't know. Until next time, peace.